The New York Giants interviewed John Harbaugh Wednesday for their head coaching opening, but no deal was struck. But not all is lost just yet. Locked On Giants starts right now.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily New York Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, New York Giant fans, and welcome to another edition of the Locked On Giants podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast family, now the number one sports podcast network in America. My name is Patricia Traina, credential member of the New York Giants media for Locked On, as well as for New York Giants on SI, which is where you can find all of my written work. And as always, welcome to our Everydayer Club members, our Blue Crew community members, our newcomers, and everybody in between. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us here on the Locked On Giants podcast. And today's episode of Locked On Giants is sponsored by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use our promo code Locked On NFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All right, Giant fans, we've got a lot to talk about today. A lot. Busy day over at the New York Giants headquarters. John Harbaugh was in for his formal interview, did not come out with a contract. At least nothing was announced. So we're going to kind of recap what went down with the interview, what we know, and then where it goes from there. And do we have to be concerned about the fact that Harbaugh left the Giants facility and now is going to interview at his Baltimore area home with, I believe, Tennessee is up next. So we'll take a look at that. And, the couple of thoughts on that I'll share with you. And then in segment 2, let's break down the competition for John Harbaugh. There are certain areas that Harbaugh is said to be really interested in. And how did the three teams that reportedly made his cut, the Giants, Atlanta, and Tennessee, how do they stack up against each other? So we'll take a look at that. And then in segment 3, it's been a while, but I want to start getting you some of these player interviews that I did a couple weeks ago. So I have Marcus Mbow for you in segment 3. I had him all to myself back on Baggy Days. So a lot of good stuff there. Marcus is a good guy. I've spoke to him initially back in the summer, and we had a nice interview, and we had another nice interview, I thought, on Baggy Days. So I will play that for you in segment 3. That's an audio only interview. So hopefully you'll stick around to check that out. All right, let's get into it because we've got a lot to cover. John Harbaugh appeared at the Giants facility. Steve Tisch, co-owner, sent his private jet down to Baltimore to pick him up, brought him out here, took him home at the end of the day. And my understanding, based on what I was told, as well as various reports, which all kind of sync up, if you will, John Harbaugh met the entire Giants staff. All right. So it wasn't just the two owners, Steve Tisch, John Mara, the Tisch and the Mara families who were involved in the ownership. Julia Koch, I don't know if she was there or not. I'm sure she must have been, since she's a part owner or a minority owner. Harbaugh also obviously met the staff, PR, marketing, football ops, whoever was there from the scouting. He had an opportunity to sit with Jaxson Dart, who can be a very persuasive individual when he wants to be. So, and plus, Dart is going to be like one of the centerpieces of the whole allure of the Giants job. Harbaugh got a tour of the facility, obviously the 1925 Giants Drive, the field house. I think they went over to the stadium. They went out to lunch. I thought they were going to go out to dinner, but that was not the case. So I think they just went out to lunch as opposed to dinner. Now, obviously, Joe Schoen was in the meeting. So a lot of people are of the opinion that Joe Schoen is the stumbling block to getting a deal done with John Harbaugh. I'm here to tell you that is not necessarily the case, right? It is not set up to where Joe Schoen has 100% complete autonomy of the football matters and the final roster. George Young has been the only GM to really exercise that. But since then, Giants GMs have worked in a collaborative manner with the head coach. And this is going to be no different, regardless if it's Harbaugh or whoever the head coach is. The two of them are going to work together. And there have been instances where, with Brian Dable was here, where Dable wanted players and Shane had to be talked into it. And the perfect example was Jaxson Dart. Another example, which I believe Brandon Brown actually had to talk Joe Shane into making a signing, was John Runyon Jr. So Joe Shane doesn't have, while he technically has final say, he can and does work collaboratively with others in the building. So that's the good thing. All right. Now, as far as the money is concerned, the Giants are prepared to throw the bag at John Harbaugh. He's potentially looking at upwards of $20 million a year, which would put him in the highest paid head coaching category with the Andy Reids of the world. All right, not a problem. I mean, considering the Giants are worth over $10.1 billion, what's a few 20 million? That's pocket change to them. Okay, now, here's the thing that I think has people a little panicked. Harbaugh left the building without agreeing to a deal. And quite honestly, you can look at this two ways. Number one, Harbaugh apparently gave his word to, Tennessee and I think to Atlanta that he would meet with them. And for him to not at least give them that courtesy might not be a very good look. So, he's meeting with those two teams at his home, which could be just a courtesy meeting. Because remember, he could have said to the Giants, you come to me. No, he went to the Giants. So if he's going to the Giants, you got to think that he's really intrigued by this job. And if he liked everything he heard, he's probably going to be like, okay, you know what? I've seen what I need to see. I've heard what I need to hear. The other two teams, let them come to me. I'll give them a courtesy, listen to, and we'll be done with it. And I'll make a decision and everybody will be happy and live happily ever after. All right. That's how I take it. Now, there's one tiny little thing here that I have to bring up, and I don't mean to be a negative Nelly. So please, don't take it this way. But depending on the scheduling, all right, now Harbaugh is supposed to be meeting with the Titans on Thursday at his home. We don't know if he's going to meet with Atlanta or when he's going to meet with Atlanta. We don't know if there are any other teams he plans to meet with. If Harbaugh takes his time and says, okay, you know what? I've done all my meetings. I'm going to wait and make a decision at some point next week. What happens now if he takes his time, which I'm sure the Giants are going to tell him to do, and now all of a sudden the other guys that maybe were number 2, number 3 on the Giants head coaching list, what if they go to other teams? So that's kind of the risk that I see involved in this whole scenario. I believe Kevin Stefanski is the backup plan if John Harbaugh decides for whatever reason not to come to New York. But Stefanski has also been in demand. Stefanski has met with Miami. I think he's met with Tennessee. I believe he met with Baltimore. So he's been in demand as well. I think Atlanta might have had him in as well. So that's probably the one thing, if you're going to say, okay, what do we have to be worried about? That would be it. Now, if you're the Giants and you're confident that Harbaugh's coming, it's not the end of the world. And he might very well be coming because, like I said, he took the time to come to New Jersey to tour the Giants facilities, to meet the people. He's not doing that, as far as we know, with Tennessee. And like I said, if he meets with Atlanta, which we don't know when he's supposed to meet with Atlanta, if he's going to at all, is he going to meet with them at his home or is he going to go down there? If he goes down there, then I'd say maybe we got a little more to worry about. But I don't know how much Tennessee is going to be a threat at this point, because if he was really, really, into Tennessee, wouldn't he have taken the time to go down there? And yeah, I get it. Tennessee, it's a team that when he was with the Ravens, they regularly face. So he knows about the stadium, I'm sure. But was he really, in the facility? Did he get to know the people in the Tennessee Titans organization? So that's what kind of gives me a little optimism that maybe Harbaugh is really, really serious about the Giants job, and it just could be a matter of when. But being a man of integrity, if he gave his word to Tennessee and Atlanta and whoever else, hey, I'll meet with you, I'll listen to you, then I don't think we have a whole lot to worry about unless they just totally blow him out of the water with an offer. And as I'll get to in the next segment, I'll kind of stack up the advantages Tennessee and Atlanta might have against the Giants and vice versa. So that's where things stand with John Harbaugh. So look, if you're rolling, if you're worrying about the fact that John Harbaugh left without a contract, don't. It's too soon, I think, to worry about that. All right, coming up next, as I said, we're going to break down Giants versus Atlanta versus Tennessee. Who's really got the most attractive head coaching position open? We'll talk about that right after this. Hey, Giant fans, new year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number so that nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. It works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps so the details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise that Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNFL. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNFL. Hey, Giant fans, the draft positions are set, and so many teams are looking for their franchise quarterback. If you've ever wished to become a pro quarterback, getting drafted first overall by the New York Giants or whatever team you want, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of a #1 draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the #1 quarterback career mode game on the mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. You sign contracts, you train and upgrade yourself, you build chemistry and evolve your teammates, you give your input to your GM on roster moves, you play the actual games in 2D and rise through the ranks to become a pro football legend. You'll deal with the ups and downs of quarterback career, from rookie nerves to playoff drama, and every choice shapes your journey. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head on over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. And we've got a little something special for you. Use our promo code Locked On in all caps in the game store and get a free boost to start your career. Ultimate QB, Football Legend QB1, it is your legacy. All right, Giant fans, welcome back to Locked On Giants. I'm your host, Patricia Traina, and we're still 5 days a week here on the Locked On Giants podcast. We'll keep you up to date on the head coaching search, obviously. Also on today, Thursday, the Giants Squad Show. It'll be myself, Jay Berman, Mark Collins, former Giants cornerback, and we will bring you the absolute latest. That's a 1-hour live stream starting at 1 o'clock on Thursday. Do check it out, and feel free to jump into the comments section. I usually monitor the comments section, and when I can, I respond to them. So hope to see you on the live stream. All right, in this segment, let's take a look at how the Giants, the Falcons, and the Titans, the three teams that have been linked to John Harbaugh, how they stack up. Now, as I see it, there are several criteria that maybe we need to take a look at. All right, there's quarterback, there's assets and resources, such as the cap space, and there's obviously the organizational structure, including ownership. So let's kind of break all of it down. All right, starting with quarterback, the advantage here, I think, goes to the Giants with Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart, according to True Media, out of the quarterbacks that were drafted in 2024 and 2025, and I had to include 2024 because that's when Michael Penix of the Falcons was drafted. So out of that I think it's like a 7-member class between the 2 years, Jaxson Dart has the best completion percentage, 63.7%, the most touchdowns, 24. That's both through the air and on the ground. He has 86 design rushing yards, which is the most between the three. 290 scramble yards rushing, and the lowest interception, 5. All right, so he, based on those stats, better than Michael Penix, better than Cam Ward of the Titans. So that, you could argue, gives the Giants an advantage. Okay, let's look at draft assets. The Titans, I believe, draft one spot before the Giants. I think they're at number 4, and the Giants are at number 5. The Falcons traded away their first-round pick to the Rams. I think their pick was at 13, and it belongs to the Rams. So the Falcons don't even have a first-round pick in this coming draft. I think their first pick is in the second round. So right off the bat, you could say, okay, it comes down between the Giants and the Titans. Now, the Titans, they have 3 picks in the top 100 and a total value at 980.8, according to Tankathon's ranking of each draft class's assets. The Giants are a little below that. The Giants have 7 picks. They don't have a 3rd rounder. I don't believe they have a 7th rounder. So the Titans draft assets a little better right now. Neither team, by the way, are due to get comp picks this year. But here's the thing. The draft assets can change. All it takes is for the Giants to maybe consider making a trade. Maybe, they decide they've seen enough of Abdul Carter to say, okay, we're going to move on from Kayvon Thibodeau. And we should be able to get at least a 2nd-round pick for Kayvon Thibodeau. So you never know. And the Titans might do the same. But, the point being is the assets, that's a situation that's fluid. So right now, I think you give a slight advantage to the Titans based on that valuation that Tankathon put on it. But the situation's fluid. All right, now, cap resources. Here's where the Titans just absolutely trump the Giants. The Titans have $96.7 million in cap space, which is the 2nd most as of right now. All right, and remember, postseason accounting is still going on, so these numbers are fluid. The Giants, they need to clear cap space. All right, they have $5.231 million overall, according to Over the Cap. But they are in the red in terms of effective cap space, which is the amount of money they need to sign guys under the top 51 rule, which kicks in the first day of the new league year. So the Giants are actually in the red, $4.867 million. Again, though, like the draft assets, the cap is fluid. The Giants are going to be trimming some dead weight off of the roster. All right? They can potentially clear over $10 million. And I will break that down for you on a future show. But I'm not too concerned that the Giants are not going to have enough assets in terms of cap space for free agency. Now, is it as much as the Titans? No. But the Giants, do they need as much as the Titans? You can kind of make that argument that yes, they do, or no, they don't. I don't think the Giants need as much as the Titans do. So maybe they don't need to clear as much space. So it all depends on how you look at the roster and how, Joe Shane and whether it's Harbaugh or whoever the head coach is, how they look at the roster. So the cap situation's not a big deal. Now, ownership structure and just organizational structure. The Giants have a really good reputation around the league for their ownership tandem, right? John Mara is very, very highly respected around the league, as was his father before him. Same thing with Steve Tisch, as was his father before him. Now, that's not to say that Arthur Blank of the Falcons isn't respected. That's not to say that Amy Adams Strunk of the Titans is not respected. But, when you think of core ownership, the Maras and the Tisch family, who have been doing it for so long, they're the ones that kind of pop into mind as being, amongst the premier ownerships in the league, along with the Bob Crafts, the Hunt family down in Kansas City, the Hallis family in Chicago, and so forth. Now, here's the thing. What about the business structure? All right. So the Falcons just hired Matt Ryan to be their president of football operations. The Titans have, I forget the two names. I know Chad Brinker is one. They have a president and they also have a GM. I want to say Brinker is relatively new to his job. Joe Shane, as we know, is going on his 5th year as the Giants GM. In terms of experience, you give the nod to Joe Shane. I know the results haven't been what anybody wanted, but you would like to think that as he keeps going on and being given more chances, that he's finally getting the hang of this thing. So I just think, all things considered, and I know some of you are going to say, you're just speaking because you cover the Giants. But no, I'm being honest with you. I think the Giants maybe have the better structure in place. But that being said, I think Harbaugh had a relationship of some sort, or he came in contact with Matt Ryan when Ryan was a player. So there might be hidden relationships there that maybe we're not aware of, that maybe might influence it. But in terms of the overall quote unquote competition between who's got the best situation for John Harbaugh, the Giants, the Titans, and the Falcons, I think you got to go with the Giants. I really do. I mean, Jaxson Dart, to me, that's tipping point. All right. Again, the cap situation can be tilted or it's fluid. The draft situation, that's fluid as well. Ownership is pretty much stable. And the Giants, contrary to what some of you might think, they do have pretty strong ownership that is well respected around the league. So I think, if you're a head coach looking for a job, you can't really go wrong with the Giants, I don't think. But, that's up to Harbaugh to obviously decide if that's how he feels. All right, Giant fans, coming up next, we're going to hear from Marcus Mbow, Giants offensive lineman. I got him one-on-one during Baggy Days, so I'll play that interview right after this. Hey, Giant fans, as the new year gets going, a lot of people are trying to simplify their routines, and dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, and packed schedules, having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. That's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-proportioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. And it's easy to see why. Meals come ready to fit your schedule. 30-minute recipes, oven-ready trays, or quick lunches. Over 30 weekly options, including family-sized meals and different dietary choices. Recipes are simple but feel elevated, even restaurant quality, with dishes created by chefs like Gordon Ramsay. Everything arrives pre-proportioned, so there's less prep, less mess, and no wasted foods. Saves time and money. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. And for a limited time right now, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off their first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/LockedOn homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Hey, Giant fans, if you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust in Indeed sponsored jobs. So if you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you to reach the right candidates faster. Sponsored jobs boost your posts to the people who are the best match for your role, and that makes a real difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posts directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. So go on and spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of the Locked On Giants podcast can get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Again, just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. All right, Giant fans, before we get to our interview with Marcus Mbow, just real quick, thank you for making the Locked On Giants podcast part of your day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in America. If you're a true New York Giants fan, the Everyday or All Access tier is built just for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, a 15% discount to the Locked On merch store, access to the Discord channels featuring all the Locked On channels, including our Blue Crew community members. You'll get an invitation to our weekly lunch hour, 1 hour live video calls where I answer fan questions, so much more. So please go and head on over to LockedOnNYGiants.supercast.com to join the Everydayer program and unlock all access. You can also find the link in the show notes. All right, Giant fans, in this segment, I spoke with Giants offensive lineman Marcus Mbow during Baggy Day, got him one-on-one. So the interview I'm about to play, it is just an audio interview. Unfortunately, I didn't get any video during Baggy Day, but it's a pretty good interview. I think you're going to like it. So without any further ado, let me run that for you right now. So, rookie season's over.
Yeah.
You had a nice 2-game audition. Thoughts?
I thought it was all right. Things to work on, things to improve on. But, yeah, good time being out there.
Have they had you work at guard at all in practice this year?
A little bit, not much. But
What, on the right side or left side? Or
a little both.
a little bit of both? I mean, you played guard in college, didn't you?
Yeah.
Is that a big adjustment for you at this level, given that it's, you're dealing with faster guys and bigger guys and whatnot?
What, the adjustment of...
The adjustment to go from tackle to guard at this level, because you played tackle most of this season.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. It's been a while since I played guard, and to play, the premium level athletes that we're playing now, it definitely takes time to be able to switch at an instant's notice. But yeah, I think it would be an adjustment.
Reflecting on how you went from, I think you played 1 game at right tackle this year, the 2 at left tackle. That hard to flip-flop, especially, coming in at this level and, again, facing stronger, faster, sneakier guys?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. Our coach always say, try wiping with your left hand or your opposite hand. And I always thought that was a good analogy, but it definitely got easier throughout the year, just, getting more reps at both and being able to see the field and just see everything at both sides. So things slowed down as the year went on, but, yeah, it's definitely a challenge.
Where do you feel you need to come in with year 2? Where do you need to be better, in your opinion?
Just the strength part of it, I feel like, is the biggest thing for me.
Upper, lower?
Just overall strength, body strength, and composition. I feel like, I've got the athleticism and the agility, and the knowledge of the game, just being able to, string together the physical part of it and just keep getting better all around.
Do you have a specific goal in terms of how much muscle you want to add or what your metrics as far as strength?
In terms of like specific goals or number-wise, no, I just want to be a stronger football player and just a better football player, you know what I mean? Not necessarily a specific number that I want to hit, but I just want to feel better and feel stronger when I'm out there, you know what I mean?
Right. And I know it's early, but do you want to settle in at one, at tackle? You want to be able to add guard to your repertoire? I mean, what's your preference if you had your druthers?
I mean, if I had a choice, I'd rather be a tackle. I feel like that's where I can benefit, the game the most. But that's where I feel.
Yeah. Have you ever gone through a season like this in college? Where you had a change in coaches, losing seasons and stuff.
Not through the middle of the year, but at Purdue our coach left before the bowl game going into my junior year, so that was a coaching change, and we were 1-11 my senior year at Purdue, so seen a losing season or two in my day. It's not fun, but at the end of the day, you're still here playing football. You just gotta persevere.
I was going to say,
see the bigger picture.
Is it unsettling at all? I mean, especially mid-season, you have this change, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, now what? I mean, you had the advantage. You knew Kafka.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy, like an adjustment. It's like, well, damn, none of us would be here without Dayball, you know what I mean,
right.
For the most part. So it was definitely like an eye-opener, especially his first year in the league, seeing like, well, this happens, so just being able to adjust to that and keep going.
Did you come through the year healthy?
Yeah.
So no surgeries or anything like that? That's good news, right? So now you can hit the ground training, because it's going to be different to train now versus getting ready for the combine, I would imagine, right?
Absolutely. That'll be big for me, just not having to worry about anything else but football.
Yeah. And then finally, I know everybody has their own opinion, but next head coach, if you had to pick a next head coach as far as qualities that you want to see in him, any thoughts?
No, I just want to win, that's all. Just keep getting better as a player myself and bring people around me and win.
Well, you had a very good rookie season, I'm sure, for you. There's things you want to work on, obviously.
Thank you.
All right, Giant fans, that was Marcus Mbow, offensive lineman, on his rookie campaign and looking ahead. Hope you enjoyed that interview. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to do it for this edition of the Locked On Giants podcast. Again, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us here on Locked On Giants. We'll have plenty more as we keep track of the Giants head coaching search. And then thereafter, we're going to take a look at assistant coaches. There's just so much going on. What off season, right? So hope you'll keep it here on the Locked On Giants podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.